Hey guys, we're back here again, Boomtown Corso. Um, a topic I have briefly touched on one of my other videos. Gonna delve into it a bit. Just give you guys my personal opinion on it. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing, or it doesn't mean that what you believe is wrong. It doesn't mean that anybody else's uh, organization is wrong for doing what they do, because there's a lot of good behind a lot of those organizations. So what I want to talk about is you guys know the dog shows. So when somebody takes their dog to those shows, and they do some kind of like something majestically in comparison. Oh, there's a scrap going on in here. Holy, who's that? That's Larry and Portuguese. Wow. They were gargling at each other. So you go to those dog shows and, like, they're running around the ring, and then they check their teeth, and they check their size and their look and their physical appearance, and they say, okay, this is my favorite out of this bunch of dogs. Okay? And then the Kennel Club awards that breeder or that person with that as like an accomplishment that their kennel has achieved. And it is good because there's a lot of work that goes behind that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing what they do. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. I mean, I knew a guy that used to show miniature schnauzers. And this guy would take his dogs to, like, United States, and he was always on the move. He was retired, and his whole life was just completely structured around his breeding program and his dogs. And there's a lot of work and a lot of money. They pay a lot of money. Those people are paying the wages for those people who are sitting at the Kennel Club behind a computer. It's a company. It's a company. There's people there. They're documenting the genealogy of the animals that are registered with their kennel and everything, right? So it's a good thing, like the registry. It's a great way to keep tabs on the genealogy and where it is and where it's gone to and where it's come from and so on. You can see that, and it's all beneficial, and especially if you've got like pictures of some of the specimens that were produced through certain breeding programs, and you could try to reconstruct. I mean, you'll get this litter here. Like, I mean, whoever knows about breeding knows that you just get these litters every so often that are like, wow, perfect everything. You could have a litter between Odin and Sugar again, and that there's no guarantees that litter is going to come out this pristine. So, the people in the breeding world with affiliation to kennel clubs have that kind of structured around the way they do things. And also, another thing to take into consideration is that kennel club is awarding those people those grants for their dogs. Yes, your dog got the gold sticker on top of his page that day. And those people get proud because they've been working so hard. And what they've been doing, they've been trying to succeed, and they put a lot of effort into that stuff, and I get that, and they get that gold sticker on the top of their page for their dog because that dog pranced around the ring and looked so majestic, and its fur was nice and shiny and everything like that. But that doesn't mean that an average person can't have that very same thing with their dog. Just because that dog is not a member of that society doesn't mean that it's any inferior to that breed, that particular specimen of that dog, right? So for people who like to have paper dogs, this is where this kind of stuff comes from. So what I also have to point out is that genealogy that they have documented. How do you know that they didn't produce a different litter? Because I know for a fact, okay, there's there's a couple of breeds that look very similar. Black Russian Terrier, what do you call it, the giant Schnauzer, the black one, and also you look and you can also find like pretty close similarities to the Bouvier de Flandre. So those three breeds, okay? So I'll tell you right now. So to diversify their gene pool, a lot of legit, good people who are breeding dogs, they know what they're doing. What they'll do is they will cross-breed their dog to a completely outside of the Black Russian Terrier, for example. They'll breed their dog to a giant Schnauzer because they know that giant Schnauzer's genetic profile ain't anything close to this one's. Because this one, that's a giant Schnauzer from this many generations or whatever. And now you brought that complete diverse bloodline into it. And it could be a fantastic specimen. You could bring additional agility to your breed, or you could bring size or a particular characteristic like their head quality or whatever, the size of their head, the cranial structure. That's all stuff some people add into their breeding program. And you really have to recognize that they don't declare that because that's registration. With the people who are always asking me, well, if my dogs are papered, that same people over there will put a blind eye to that. So what they'll do is that they'll say this puppy here, this dog here is that one, and they'll paper it, but it won't be what they said it was. In other words, and now I'm not accusing anybody of fraud or anything like that, but if you think for a second that doesn't go on, then you should really reconsider, because I know surely it does. Same thing, what people do with the Corsos. There's some people down in the downtown Toronto area that are breeding Great Dane with the Corso, and then they're back breeding it, and they're physically looking for long legs. I don't know what their obsession is with having a tall kind of Corso, like a super tall Corso, because that's not necessarily, the dog doesn't have to be all legs. So anyways, moving forward with the breeding club stuff. Now, you know those people that are running around in their tight skirts and stuff, and they are actually the handlers? Well, guess what? They have to pay into that kennel club to be that handler. You see, they have to be a member. They have to be paying dues and licensing fees. If you're licensed through that kennel club to be a certified handler, that those judges are willing to take a look at those dogs. If you're not there, and if you're just some dog owner or a homeowner, you can't just go in and compete with those people. There's certain protocol that always has to be followed with these organizations. So I don't buy into that stuff, guys. I don't. What do I put out of a dog? I put a dog that's willing to defend its family in case there's ever a threat. I put a dog that is going to give that family, God willing, a good, long, healthy life. Also, I breed for a dog to be a very good-looking dog, like physical attributes, like, is this dog structured properly? Do they have adequate muscle? Is the head in proportion with the body? All these kind of things are characteristics that you filter out. You filter out these characteristics. You don't want them in your breeding program. If you know, like, people backbreed these dogs like crazy, you know. So those licensed breeders and members of kennel clubs and stuff like that, they get money, man. They get money for the papers, and they get money for the licensing, and it's like, I understand they're doing work. They're legit. They're doing work. They're entering data into the database, and they're doing all that stuff and making it like a good formed organization. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying that these dogs, okay, are put together in such a way that they're going to be as good or better than those other dogs that you see winning and getting the gold sticker on their page. That's all I'm saying, because